Hey folks, Pat here from DNS. This Madison area fishing report is current as of November 11th. Before we get started, just wanted to go over a few things here. First of all, happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. My wife and co-owner of the shop here is a nurse practitioner at the VA hospital. So we are big fans of veterans, and we offer a 10% veteran and military discount here at the shop year round. But just, on Veterans Day, just wanted to take a chance to say thanks for your service. So, other big news, I mentioned this several times before, but we are closed starting tomorrow, November 12th, through November 25th. This is something that Gene, the old owner, did for many years, and we're just continuing that tradition. Fall is a slow time here at the shop, but deer hunting season is very slow. And I also hunt, so I'll be enjoying some time out in the woods, and I hope anybody else that's out there hunting is safe and has a good deer season. Other big news here at the shop is we put out the winter seminar series lineup. So starting Thursdays in December, the first Thursday in December, every Thursday at 7 p.m., we're going to be doing a seminar here at the shop. First of December, we have Brian Zucke talking about fall transition and early ice panfish tactics. December 8th, Noah Humfeld is going to be talking about walleye and pike. And December 15th, Jim Kasuda is going to be here talking about winter perch fishing with modern electronics. It's a real fun tradition that Gene did for many, many years, and we're just happy to keep it going. Now that we're kind of out of the woods here with the COVID stuff, it'll be nice to get these up and running. We'll do these in the winter and in the spring. As far as the report goes, this last week we had a lot of rain last weekend, brought lake levels up and river levels up. But we had an especially nice week. But it looks like as of last night, the bottom kind of dropped out of everything, and we're headed for some cooler temps now. It's 36 degrees here, I think, right now, and kind of overcast and windy. But looking ahead, this is a little thing I posted, I think, yesterday about the forecast here. You can see temps for the next 2 weeks don't get above 40 degrees. We got a lot of 20 degrees at night here, opening weekend of gun season. Going to be chilly, it looks like. They're talking 17, 18 degrees for a low, and then 20s. So I think there's a very real chance we could have fishable ice by Thanksgiving. So fingers crossed there. I guess we'll see how all that goes. As far as the fishing report goes, the buoy out at Lake Mendota out here was reading 52 degrees all the way down this morning. Generally around the chain, weeds are coming down. Shallow water continues to be most of the best action, but they're still getting some walleyes out on a lot of the mid-lake humps out here. Up here to Cherokee, the weeds are coming down nicely, making casting a lot more pleasant, but from what I hear, the action seems to have slowed up there. Not a lot of bass that I've heard of. There's still a lot of small pike up there, but there was some great action all summer up there that seems to have kind of tapered off a little bit, at least for the time being. We should start to see some panfish start to move into Cherokee here, as that's, everybody knows, a great early ice spot, and the panfish like to kind of stack up in there, so look for that over the next couple weeks. The 113 bridge is still producing some good catfish, but I've been hearing more about walleyes down here. Some of the shore anglers down there are getting some good numbers, but also been hearing about some fish in the 24, 26 inch range. Definitely some fish over 20 coming out of there. Up here on the north end, also been hearing about some walleyes, but a lot of the walleye around the lake are shallow. I guess let's talk about panfish first. Perch. That action seems to be almost non-existent. I don't hear about anybody catching perch right now. Still getting some bluegills along the weed lines and up shallow on a few of the humps, but mostly it's a weed line thing right now, with spikes and redworms being most effective for those fish. Walleye is really the name of the game out here on Mendota right now. A lot of fish being caught shallow all around the lake. Places I've been hearing about fish being caught are the Warner Breakwall, Dunn's Bar, Governor's Island, the North Bay, Fox Bluff. I haven't heard much out of the West End, I guess. Second Point, Picnic Point, University Shoreline. So, I mean, all over the lake, I could just say they've been getting fish at all those spots, but also Dunn's. I mentioned the bars. So, walleyes all over the place, and they're hungry right now. One of the best spots for walleyes has been the Tenney Park breakwall. It's been good. A lot of good action coming out of there at night. Folks using minnows and husky jerk style lures have been doing really well. Also, I guess I forgot to touch on the pike, but per usual, the pike bite out here has been great. A lot of fish in that 20 to 30 inch range, but I do hear about several 40 inchers being caught lately in that 40 inch class. The river here on the Yahara, a lot of good mixed bag fish coming out of there, walleyes, panfish, bass, and some big muskies cruising around in there. Tenney Park, largemouth bass in there, some good largemouth chasing around all the tiny bluegills that are in there. Some good action down here at Yahara Place Park. Been hearing about some good walleyes being picked up there in the evening, all around the lake. Been hearing about a few perch and bluegills being caught where you can find weeds, but the weeds are getting fewer and farther between. Muskie action continues to be great up here on the north end. Just heard about a nice fish that came out of the Old Brook area. Otherwise, a lot of the panfish seem to be moving down towards Brittingham Park, Monona Bay, and Brittingham Bay and the Triangles, and a lot of good panfish being caught along the Monona Terrace wall. Bluegills during the day. Crappie bite has been good at night, although I hear it's been kind of sporadic. But good bluegills and crappies I've been hearing about just recently being caught in the Triangles and in Monona Bay. Some good walleye action along John Nolan Drive in the wall. Great muskie action on the south end of the lake. I've been hearing about quite a few good fish coming out of there. Suckers being really popular for those fish, much more so than lures from what I understand. Haven't heard much out of Turville Bay and Squaw Bay, but panfish at least should start to be moving in there pretty soon as we get closer to ice up. Down this chain here on Upper Mud, some good bass action, shallow, up shallow here. Some great panfish action still coming out of the dredge hole up there, and that's just going to be the way it is through ice up and through winter. That dredge hole's a good fish magnet there. Haven't heard much specifically out of the Lake Farm area of the lake, but good muskie coming out all around the lake. Been hearing about some good walleyes along Hog Island and Babcock areas, down near out from Christie's, the rock pile out here. Also, been hearing about some decent bass down in the South Bay down here. But yeah, the muskie action on Wabisa continues to be fantastic. I guess I didn't talk about Wingra, but I haven't heard much specifically out of Wingra. But yeah, lots of good muskies in there. Typically not the giants that you find on Monona and Wabisa, but some good fish and some good action nonetheless. Some fish stacking up at the spillway here at Babcock Park. Haven't heard a lot out of Kegonsa. It was, a decent panfish bite all summer, but it seems like those fish are getting hard to find. I do hear about sporadic action. Most of what I hear is fish being caught near weeds or structure. And I have heard a couple good reports of walleye around the state park area, mostly in the early morning hours and right at dusk and just into early evening. I haven't heard a lot out of Koshkonong. I know it was running low before. I don't know if the rain we got on Saturday last weekend changed things, but always a pretty safe bet to start if you're going to fish Koshkonong, to start around where the Rock River dumps in. Been hearing about some action near Black Hawk Island, but also up from Fort Atkinson up to Jefferson, some decent walleye action, some white bass, and a few catfish still coming out of the Jefferson area. Let's see. Up here on the Wisconsin River, great mixed bag action up there. Had some friends fishing the dam, got into some good walleye and some sauger, but there's still a few sturgeon hanging out, bass, white bass, sheep's head. I think they caught a quillback. So, lots of great mixed bag that you're always going to find here at the Prairie du Sac Dam, Castle Rock Dam, and Pettenwell Dams. Fishing downstream, smallmouth has been slower, but muskie and pike action has been great. And some good walleyes where you can find deeper water too, actually. So up on the Lake Wisconsin, been hearing about some great sauger and walleye numbers coming out of here, up shallow and out trolling, so all over the lake. A lot of smaller fish, but I do hear about some nicer ones coming out of there too. Some panfish starting to stack up in the fingers and showing up here in Wayland's Grade. I guess I haven't heard a lot out of Portage. And the Dells, I haven't heard much coming out of there recently, but walleye should start stacking up there pretty soon. Up to Castle Rock dams and Pettenwell, like I mentioned. Great mixed bag at both those dams. Haven't heard much specifically out of Castle Rock, but Pettenwell, it sounds like the water is clearing up there, and the walleyes are continuing to bite more and more. They're getting fish out deeper and on rock humps and also near shore. So similar story to pretty much all the lakes around the area. Where you got walleyes, they're hungry right now. So that's always great fishery up there if you're looking to explore some new water out here on the rivers or the river. Um, Great walleye action at the dams and all those areas. The backwaters are starting to or continue to produce some crappies and some bluegills. Um, but that action is just going to get better and better as it gets colder here too, especially on the walleye side of things. Over to Milwaukee, the Chinook King salmon run is pretty much over. Uh, I had some time on Wednesday. I ducked over here to Milwaukee and was fishing the river there, and a lot of coho is up right now, so there's some good coho action to be had. All these rivers are going to be the same from the Root, the Menominee, and Milwaukee River, all the way up the coast is going to be pretty much the same story. Probably lots of cohos in, but then you're going to have steelhead and browns moving up behind them. I lost one coho when I was out there, and I netted a coho for another guy, and actually a nice brown trout for another guy. So the fish are in there and they're moving up, and that fishing is going to be great right up until that shore ice gets too tolerable or intolerable to get out there. Up the coast here, up in um, Green Bay, great walleye fishery up there. Been hearing about some, the usual huge walleyes they're catching up there, but also some great muskie action. Haven't heard much out of Lake Winnebago other than some decent perch starting to turn up. Of course, Lake Winnebago is famous for their perch. Also Devil's Lake over here. Been hearing about good brown trout action in there too, and that action as well should be pretty steady until ice up. But speaking of ice up, and I guess trout fishing, of course, inland trout is closed. You could always go over to Iowa if you felt like you really had to scratch that itch. They have a good trout fishery over there. But otherwise, speaking of ice up, we'll see what ice does. There's a chance we could open on the 24th if we have ice and there's people chomping at the bit. But I'd encourage folks to come in today and stock up on some spikes and be ready to go if we get some early ice for some panfish. But anyway, like I mentioned earlier, I want to wish all the hunters good luck out there, and of course all the anglers good luck if you're out on the water. And if you find ice, please be safe. And I won't be posting a report next week or the week after because I'll be hunting, and I doubt people want to hear about the deer running around my deer stand. But we'll be checking in, periodically with posts here on social media. And feel free to post your catches and reports below. And otherwise, we will talk to you all after Thanksgiving. And have a happy Thanksgiving to everyone too. So take care, and we'll talk soon.